All right. All right, everyone. This is Brian Smith again with the Smooth Vegan channel, and today I wanted to do a video about consumption of fat and how much fat you should be consuming. Again, we have the boring background. It's a little I'm gonna get better on that, on the backgrounds, but my main point is to get the message across about the plant-based lifestyle being a great way to get your life going, as far as just being more energetic, being more free of life, being more vibrant, and just loving one another in a more encourageable way, as far as how the plants make you feel. I mean, I can talk all day about that, but this video is going to be about how much fat should I eat. Your fat consumption, how much fat you should be eating, the RDA recommended amount of fat you should be eating, and just on a plant-based diet, how much fat you should be eating if you want to switch to that type of lifestyle of eating. Really quick, I mean, the book that I've read by Dr. Douglas Graham, 80-10-10, he basically says, 80% carbohydrates, 10% protein, and 10% of fat intake. And your carbohydrates, 80% is going to be definitely from your fresh fruits and vegetables, your starches and legumes and things like that. If you want to not be raw and you want to consume some cooked foods or some starches and some other type of foods that need to be cooked other than the regular fruits and vegetables, or you can and the 10% protein is going to come from your vegetables, i.e. Your Swiss chard, your kale, and your spinach, your watercress. I mean, this is this type of plant, kelp, all green leafy vegetables. Those are just a few. Kale definitely being a big one that I've learned. Arugula, the kale definitely being the one that I've consumed a lot of, and that I've read and done a lot of research on. It has a lot of protein in it, so because juicing kale, putting it in your smoothies and things like that, that's a good way to kind of get your protein. Actually, kale has more protein by the pound, as I mentioned in another video, than meat does when you measure by the pound, and as how you should consume your and how much you should get of your protein. So that's kind of a break. And 10% of the fats in your diet, on the plant-based diet, should come from things like avocados is a big type of fruit that you can put in your your sauces or your mixes, or your salsas. Like if you want to have a Mexican party and eat some salsa, just make sure you keep it low sodium. It's a lot of salsa recipes out there that they don't really need to include too much salt or too much sodium in it. I mean, there's a lot of herbs and spices, i.e. Dill, thyme, cilantro, rosemary. There's a lot of these naturally grown. I mean, you can grow a lot of these herbs in your home just from little small plant starts. And I'm drinking a mason jar of water right now. I'll do another video sometimes, maybe on how I start my day. I always started with a big jar. This is 32 ounce of water. Probably about maybe half a liter to a liter of water. I start my day, and right now, I mean, of course, it's midday, towards the end of the day, and I just just drinking something to kind of keep myself hydrated. I'll be eating dinner in a little bit, having a dinner meal in a minute. So I'm just kind of like to get myself hydrated before I eat. Not too much water, because you want to make sure you're able to get your food in. But just something that I keep myself hydrated, keep the blood flowing, everything. Just a quick tangent on that. But yeah, that's how I drink my water. But yeah, 10% of the fats, coming from things like nuts and seeds, avocados, like I was saying before, And you know, like I said, you can make you make your sauces, make your avocado dips, but you know, like I said, just keep it low sodium. Like I said, there's a lot of herbs out there, like I named the dill, the cilantro. I'm sorry, the dill, the thyme, the sage, the rosemary. All these are there to enhance that. And definitely you can use celery as well. Celery, you know, when you smell it, it has that salty sodium smell, kind of like you get from your chicken noodle soups, or you know, your maybe chicken salad. You might smell the salsa. I'm sorry, not salsa, but the celery in that. So it kind of has that, you know, add that really. If you chop it up really fine, you know, there's been things I've heard about celery salt. You can kind of, you know, chop it up really fine and put it maybe in a little jar, you know, kind of like you would do salt, and just make it really fine, and try to put that on some of your foods, maybe your cooked foods or your salads or whatever, and you know, see how that kind of gives it that salty taste, and see if that can kind of replace salt. Even though I don't have a problem with sea salt and kelp salt and all these different types of salts, but you know, doing a plant-based diet, you want to kind of keep your salt intake kind of pretty low, and get most of your sodium intake from your mostly from natural sources, you know, such as cucumbers, zucchini, celery. You know, these are natural sources of sodium. Oh, you know, other green leafy other vegetables have it as well, but celery I know, and definitely cucumbers. They have a good source of, and they have good taste too. I mean, celery. You know, you take the celery sticks and dip it in your avocado dip that you do, and you know, but quick on avocados. You know, consuming avocados too much is not really too good. You know, you don't want to have high fat. You know, 10% is going to be, like I said, for avocados. You do nuts and seeds. You know, your walnuts, your peanuts. You know, there's a lot of different nut butters and things like that you can do. You know, so there's a lot of recipes out there that you can kind of consume and not just be so boring where you're just sitting there just popping almonds. I know I like to eat almonds. I like to eat walnuts. I like to eat I try to stay from cashews. I don't eat too many cashews. I've heard some bad things about cashews. Not really raw, because when when the cashew is coming out of the shell, they have to heat it and to crack it out of the shell. So when it's been heated already from being cracked out of the shell, the cashew is already not raw anymore. So it's not really, you know, raw cashews. But you know, no, I'm still doing research on that and trying to understand that whole process. But from what I understand, you know, that's something that they do to the cashews where it's not considered to be raw, where you have to boil it and crack it out of the shell. Really quick, you know, you have saturated fats, you have saturated fats, unsaturated fats. You know, I'm trying to make this video really quick, not too long, maybe, you know, 10 to 15 minutes at the most each video. So getting close to that right now. But yes, saturated fat is going to come from more so your animal sources. You know, your burgers and your donuts and you know, these things that are really high in fat, that are really not necessary. You know, to meet your daily fat consumption. Your daily fat consumption should, from already, you know, recommended daily allowance, FDA government recommendation, is going to be 20 to 24 grams of fat. You know, whether that be saturated or unsaturated. So I mean, you can easily get that amount, which you know, depending on what's your calorie, that's from a 2,000 calorie daily intake. So I mean, you can easily get that, or maybe go a little bit less if you want to on a plant-based diet, living day to day. You know, from your avocados that you eat, maybe put in make your dressings and put it in your salads, or maybe from your dips. You know, you put it in your dips and things like that. With your salsa, you know, if you want to have your, you know, a quick sauce, I know more, you know, with the green peppers, red peppers, cilantro, what else? Green peppers, red peppers, cilantro. Then you have your avocado. Some people use, you know, the hot peppers, sweet peppers. Tomatoes, of course, I might have already named that. But you know, all these, you know, that's actually a quick, simple recipe you can do with the tomatoes, the peppers, cilantro, and avocado, and you got your avocado dressing, right? I mean, you got your avocado or dressing, salsa right there, and you don't really need any sodium. I mean, you got the sodium from the fire. You know, you got that tangy salsa taste from the cilantro, because cilantro has that taste, and it has that because cilantro is a very high. It's just like some of these other herbs. that are very good for anti-inflammatory effects. That's why juicing cilantro or juicing arugula, which is another kind of like, mild, tangy taste of a leafy green vegetable, when you eat it, depending on what kind of arugula it is, because there's several different kinds of arugula, but when you eat it, you get this fiery taste in your mouth, and that's just the anti-inflammatory effects that it's given to your body to release a lot of excess waste and detoxifying your body, getting rid of the toxins in your body and flushing you out. But yeah, I mean, it's like I said, with your avocado consumption, it's not bad, but just keep it at that 10% level, that 20 to 24 grams level of saturated fat or fat period when it comes in. Unsaturated fat is only going to come from your vegetable sources, i.e., like I talked about, the nuts and seeds and your avocados. So that's going to be your vegetable sources. And as far as fat goes, I mean, like I said, the saturated fat, you don't want to consume too much of that. I mean, I wouldn't consume any of it. I mean, you can get there's some saturated fats in avocados, and there's some saturated fat in unsaturated fat in avocados. Mostly it's going to be unsaturated because, like I said, it's coming from the vegetable and fruit source. So I mean, fat period, you want to make sure your consumption is 10% or less of your whole diet. That's based on a 2,000 calorie diet. On a plant-based diet, you have unlimited calorie consumption based on what you think your body needs and how you want to consume. That's going to just depend on you. That's totally that's going to be totally up to you in your consumption and how you want to do it. So like I said, that's a quick video on the fat consumption. I didn't want to make it too long. Like I said, just stay away from, if you want to do the plant-based diet, you got, if you want to have your fat, I mean, there's even a fatty fruit, the durian that I talked about as well, but that's something that you have to get from your Asian market. You can try it. If you like custard pie, you might like it. That's something you can try out. When I purchased it, it was pretty expensive. I think it was about maybe $2 to $2.50 a pound. It weighed about 7 pounds. So you can kind of, average out to calculate how much I paid for that, just to try it out. I mean, it was me and a Korean friend of mine that I worked with, at the time, and he just, we tried it out. He's from Korea. I'm sorry, not Korea, Vietnam, and he told me about it. They have all the trees, jackfruit trees and durian trees all over the place, and it just this big, heavy fruit hanging off these big, these small trees. Some of them are big, some of them are small, and it's just amazing how these durians, these spiky looking fruits just hanging off the trees. It just looks so crazy to me looking at, I would love to go to Asia, one day, and see these trees live and get me, some durian off the durian tree, just really see, what it looks like. But yeah, that's a fruit source. Of course, another fruit source, avocados. Like I said, when you consume an avocado, hey, then maybe just do one avocado every couple of days. If you can do your consumption a week per week, keep your fat consumption at 10% as well. Sometimes somebody might consume all their fat in 2 days, for that 10% of the fat or that percentage of fat they want to do for their diet per week. That could be the case too. But of course, the whole point is that the plant-based diet, you automatically consume less fat in your diet because fruits and vegetables are naturally fat-free. Except the exception of the durian and fruit like the durian and a fruit like the avocado. But I mean, these are not bad fats. These are unsaturated fats. So that's what you want more in your diet and in your body anyway, to process everything you need to process in your body. So when it comes to these lactic acid synthesis and fatty acid synthesis and all these processes that go through your body where you're processing fat, and you don't want excess fat in your body, in your bloodstream, because excess fat, that's what causes atherosclerosis, that's what causes blood clots, that's what causes, it can cause, and if you have atherosclerosis, that leads to a lot of the heart attacks and things like that. So to strokes too, it's kind of linked to strokes as well. So just keep your fat consumption low, and 10% of your daily diet. I mean, if you want more recommendations on fat sources, just let me know. I can definitely give you more, sources for low fat. But basically, it's going to be the nuts and seeds, sunflower seeds, the chia seeds, the hemp seeds, the walnuts and things like that, and then the avocados as far as your sauces and your dressings. So I hope you like this video. It's just a video about fat consumption and how much you should be taking on this plant-based diet versus an animal based diet, you know, eating the meat and dairy. And of course, meat and dairy, like I said, it just consumes too much. So please like, share, subscribe to this video. You know, I'll be doing more, and appreciate you watching. Thank you.